And so then take that same approach and think about engaging with a colleague in marketing, a colleague in design. You're able to, whatever your zone of responsibility is, and you need to interface with others, you're able to anticipate a lot of what they may help you with. And so then when you do approach them, you're saving both sides a lot of time, right? And that's where we see incredible efficiencies. I think there's also, when you have templates, right? So say you need to generate a proposal, and you have 3 or 4 really good examples. People love uploading those into Perplexity Spaces and then prompting, hey, can you generate an example, a proposal in the same style, but for this other company? And where Perplexity really excels is we're able to pull in all the real-time information about that company, what's specific to them, and preserve the style of your templates, but update it and personalize it for that company, right? And you should never then just take that output and immediately hit send, right? It's not about replacing human judgment and oversight. It's about saving you that time to get to the 80% quality first draft, and then making sure you're applying your judgment, your intuition on that last mile.
Awesome. I'll add a little bit of color as well. I think as companies mature a little bit, you get more data. And I think you can train a model about historical engagements that you've had with different companies and data on sort of like how to position your product. One of the things that Jason brings up a lot is Jason from Sastr brings up a lot is how effective their AI is at sort of like selling for Sastr. They have on their website, come talk to the chatbot. And I think I'll go a little bit further on that specific example, but I think generally speaking, transactional sort of commodity-like sales will be disrupted in ways that support has been disrupted, where more and more revenue will be generated from just pure models converting website visitors to revenue without the sales touch. And I think that will continue to become increasingly true. As I said, Jason was raving about how Sastr is leveraging their AI, and I wanted to play with it, see what all the hype is about. Let's see, beginning of last week, I went to Sastr and was just like, hey, it feels like I'm pretty late, but is there still any sponsorships that I could take advantage of for next week's annual? And interestingly, what the model did is something that I think a sales rep would never do. And it sort of downsold me. And what I mean by that was, it sort of outlined, here are the types of sponsorships that you can still move forward with that are available. I actually would, I being the model, would recommend that you move forward with either a gold booth, a silver sponsorship, or one of these brand type sponsorships, because one of the more advanced sponsorships, I don't know if it was the platinum or what it was exactly, it was it's going to be pretty tough for you to take advantage of all that sponsorship level has to offer, given that we're 8 days away from the event. And that just built a lot of trust with the AI that I was speaking to. And it's the type of experience that I just can't imagine that is what a sales rep would be recommending. Because,
right,
of course, they want to maximize the amount of revenue that the company generates and ultimately their commission. So I think that is maybe some proof of models and AI replacing salespeople, especially at the sort of transactional or almost commodity style sales. Other end of the spectrum, you have the, I don't know, Andurils of the world that are selling weapons to the government. Probably need a human for that for the foreseeable future, and then everything in between. The second thing that comes to mind is...
Well, just building on that, I think the most essential quality for AI products and AI-first products, as you project out, is what you were referring to, which I call trust, right? And you really have to trust a salesperson to have confidence they're not selling you something you don't need. But the trust threshold for an AI is even greater. And that informs everything we do at Perplexity. How do we create and preserve trust with our users? And trust will be the scarce asset of the agentic internet, and a lot of the products that are built on top of it. So, it's easy to create AIs that manipulate people, but that's a very short-term strategy. And for folks that want to build for the long term, you have to build trust in at the foundation level of your product and how you prompt these different AIs.
Yeah, I think that's smart. And then the second thing that comes to mind as companies mature a little bit, it's in the category of converting demand or opportunities to revenue, so closing revenue. And you might be a founder that manages some salespeople. You might be a sales leader that manages a team of salespeople. And this typically manifests in what I would describe as pipeline reviews, where this can either be ad hoc or casual, where it's sort of like, how's the opportunity with Perplexity going, and you get an update from the sales rep. Over time, it becomes a little bit more formalized, where my experience, and this was true even up to something like 12 months ago, you have like this incredibly sophisticated revops influence process around, you have a 30-minute meeting with each of your sales reps, and in that meeting there is, within your CRM, all of the deals that have the sales rep notes that are like ready in different categories for you to talk about, each of the sort of risks and highest probabilities with the different deals, and then through that you kind of get to a forecast. And everything is like so perfect about this process, and RevOps has set up this like beautiful spreadsheet in CRM. The only problem is it's entirely wrong.